The following tutorial is brought to you by WholeLoops.com.
It's production time. I'm Reid Stefan, Reel's puppet in the game. Today, I'm talking about why I switch DAWs. So to answer that really big question, I've compiled a list of my top 6 favorite things about recording and producing and mixing vocals in Pro Tools to answer the question of why I switch DAWs when it's time to record and mix a vocal. Starting out with reason number 1, Pro Tools is always recording. You will never miss anything as long as you have a channel record activated. When you're playing your song, even if you're not recording while it's playing, Pro Tools is recording your audio in the background, very similarly to how Ableton is always recording your MIDI in the background, even if you're not recording. Let me show you an example. The song that I got here is Down for Anything by Sam Feldt featuring Kara, and this is one that we wrote that came out on Spinnin' Records over the instrumental that Sam sent us, and I'm just gonna play the end of this, and let's pretend I was coming up with ad-libs for this song. So I'm not recording right now, but let's say that I had a really good idea earlier and I want to keep it. So I just hit record, but I only got the end of what I was saying, not the beginning of what I was saying. Now in most DAWs, you would be completely out of luck because you missed the punch and you were too late. But in Pro Tools, you could just back the clip up and grab all the stuff that you didn't record. Now this right here is so major and enough of a reason for me to use Pro Tools every single time because this has saved me on a daily basis. Writing songs, recording takes, whatever it may be, every single time there was something that happened while I was mixing or something that happened while we were writing where we're like, crap, I wasn't recording and I want to have a recording of that. Pro Tools has got your back. So background recording is so crucial for me when I'm recording and producing vocals that I switch out of Ableton and open Pro Tools every single time. And if your DAW doesn't do this, you might want to consider using Pro Tools to record your vocals too, because this will save you so many times, I guarantee you. Now, moving on to reason number 2, you're going to be recording a lot of takes and it's really easy for things to get out of hand. So Pro Tools has a very handy view called Playlist View, where every channel has some empty channels within it for you to hold potential audio clips that would belong on that channel. So let's say this is take 1 and I want to record take 2. So I'm actually just going to record over it. So I'm going to hit 3 and we'll record. So this is take 2. And as long as you let it record so that it completely overwrites take 1, it'll send it down into the playlist. And I also have post-roll turned off, or you could turn it on so it would go like Ableton, where even though you have from here to here selected, when it's playing, it'll just keep playing off into the rest of the song. But I like having post-roll off so it stops recording when I stop selecting it. And sometimes I like to use pre-roll so that I can make a selection but have my play start 2 beats before my selection. And then the recording will begin here too. Let's turn post-roll on too. And then this will be our 3rd take. And it didn't send take 2 down into the playlist because we didn't completely overwrite it, but that's all right because it's still here and we could just grab this and stretch it out. So we got take 2 and we got take 3. And we could very easily comp between them and make our perfect take. So let's take from here to here from this take. Let's pretend this was good singing that we want to keep. Here to here is perfect. Here to here on this take. And then let's go from here on this piece and from here on this piece. And you would be able to listen to these really quickly just by soloing them. I have the channel muted. I have the channel muted so I wouldn't hear an echo, but you could very easily just solo which one you hear and then send it up. Playlisting, comping are an absolute breeze, super crucial every single vocal I do to be able to have somewhere to store takes, to store old ideas without deleting them or without cluttering up my screen. And Pro Tools just gives it to me the way that I want. So that's major reason number 2 why I like to use Pro Tools is the playlisting and comping. And also another really easy way to make a playlist is loop recording. So we could set both of these to loop, and then we'll just hit our record button and we'll enable this track for recording again. And let's do let me turn our pre and post roll off, and let's do a recording. And this take 1, take 2 right here, and take 3. And in one swift movement, we just created a really quick playlist. Very easy. Again, comp it just like that. And that's loop recording, something that I also use a lot. Sometimes you need a few tries to get a verse right, and then make the best take out of the best pieces of all of your recordings. So that's playlists, comping, and loop recording. My number 2 reason why I always switch DAWs and do vocal production in Pro Tools.
Does your mastering sound like hot trash? Have you wasted countless hours trying to finish your song with no results? Introducing Ozone Master Sauce, our cleanest and most powerful mastering preset ever for iZotope Ozone 8. Sauce up your song today with Ozone Master Sauce. Available now only at holoops.com.
Number 3, when you have your vocal all comped, there's going to be a lot of cleaning up to do. And Pro Tools has some fantastic shortcuts that allow you to, for example, do a bunch of crossfades on a bunch of pieces like this at once. Or a huge one is if you have to do crossfades on an entire acapella, as long as you do a consistent job where you leave the same amount of blank space leading up and afterwards, you'll be able to highlight your whole. Let's do just the background vocals because these are all kind of the same shape. Command F opens the best menu in the world, and you can choose the length of the fade in, the length and shape of the crossfade, and the length and shape of the fade out. So I'm going to use 50 millisecond fade in, 300 millisecond fade out, and we could zoom in, and this just did new fades that match on all of our pieces for some perfectly faded in an instant background vocals. Moving on to number 4, speaking of cleanups, sometimes you have a lot of stacks and the alignment's not perfect. And let's just take a listen to the hook.
You said you wanna go for a little ride. I said I'ma be right there with you.
Let's say these were really, really off and needed some help. Let's use our lead vocal as a guide, and we're gonna go all the way to here. And I'm going to open up vocal line out of the sauciest menu in Pro Tools, the audio suite menu. This lets you apply plugins directly to the audio. So this changes what the audio in the clip looks like. This is not an insert on the chain. So let's tell it to have our lead be our guide. I can hit semicolon, which is P and semicolon are another major keyboard shortcut. Move your selection up and down. And this is a dub. So let's capture a dub. And now let's process it. And it just quantized our double to our lead. I'm going to hit semicolon one more time, capture, process. And we just vocalized our doubles to our lead.
You said you wanna go for a little. I said I'ma be right there with you. You said I wanna go up a little higher.
Let's undo that.
You said you wanna go for a little ride. I said I'ma be right there with you.
Versus the vocal line.
You said you wanna go for a little ride. I said I'ma be right there with you.
Much tighter doubles through vocal line. This plugin is a Pro Tools only plugin. And in addition to vocal line, there's a couple of other audio suite plugins that I absolutely love. My favorite one is called Verify, and it's just the best record stop effect I've ever heard. And it does it right to, it's in the pitch shift, not other. Pitch shift, Verify. And it does it, like I said, right to the audio, render. Let's listen to what it just did.
You said you wanna go for a little ride.
I mean, it just is the record stop effect you want when you're trying to get a record stop effect. Let me show you the record stop effect speeding up, for example. It's just so correct like this. Yeah, it's just the record stop effect that you want when you're going for the record stop effect. So moving on to number 5, one of the things that I couldn't stand about using Ableton was if you wanted to freeze and flatten a track, it converts it to a stereo file. Like once you've frozen and flattened it, it would look something like the instrumental does, like a left ear and right ear. But when I'm working with vocals, I want it to stay mono. So that's one of my hugest problems with Ableton is it never lets you keep your mono signal mono. Once you go and freeze and flatten it, it's the end of it. So yeah, when I commit to my tracks, I don't want them to be committed to a stereo file. I want them to be committed to a mono file. That's reason number 5 as to why I prefer doing my vocal production in Pro Tools. It's just much more mono friendly in this DAW. And reason number 6 as to why I switch DAWs when I do vocal production is the keyboard shortcuts in Pro Tools go deep. I felt like I really learned all the keyboard shortcuts to Ableton within the first couple years, but with Pro Tools, I will be learning new keyboard shortcuts probably every other day for the rest of my life. There are that many. And I find myself using the computer mouse significantly less when I have Pro Tools open. Keyboard hotkeys, whatever you want to call them, are my major number 6 reason as to why I prefer to switch DAWs when I'm doing vocal production. So there you have it, my 6 reasons as to why I switch DAWs when it's time to do vocal production. These are all just things that are nice, that help me move quicker, help me get the job done faster, and for me, that's a reason to close Ableton and open Pro Tools and get it done. If you want to see my keyboard shortcut Bible video that's coming up, stay tuned, and as soon as that video gets released, I'll put a link to it in the description. Like I said, I'm also making an Ableton one, so check back for that, and I'll catch you guys next time with another tutorial. Peace out.